You're listening to Leaders Lounge, live and unmuted with Steve Hamilton. Today, so many leaders are feeling stuck, isolated, and uninspired. This podcast will help you master your framework, connect with the community of leaders, and reignite the devotion for what you do. Some of the brightest leaders up today will be joining the conversation, sharing the joys of leadership, their vision of the future, uncovering blind spots and pitfalls, as well as what they do to maintain their footing. If you're looking for candid conversation, this is the podcast for you. Help us by staying connected and subscribe to YouTube as well as SteveHamiltonMinistries.com. Now let's get started.
Hello, everybody. This is Bishop Steve Hamilton. Welcome to the Leaders Lounge, live and unmuted. And today I am honored to be bringing a friend of mine and a little brother and one of the great pastors in the United States of America, Pastor Nisan Stewart, pastor of Greater Emmanuel Temple in Linwood, California. And I'm excited to have him on the podcast this month. He's one of the leading pastors and has been doing it over 10 years now, and which is unbelievable. But he has been doing a marvelous job, and he's in the lounge for a conversation. So welcome, Pastor Nisan. We're glad to have you, man.
Thank you for having me, Bishop Hamilton, my friend, my big brother, my co-laborer, my co-Laker buddy.
Hey, listen, this is going to be a good season, man. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, and we appreciate you taking the time to hang with us in the lounge for a little bit. My first thought is to just check in with you. How are you doing? How are you doing in terms of just everything? How have you been doing? How have you been? How are you feeling? Mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. How's everything going?
I'm doing good, man. I cannot complain. I think in a nutshell, over the past few years, going through COVID, I think my perspective of life, it has matured even more. Concerning just humanity, concerning the people that we come in contact with, concerning how I want to live, how I want to enjoy life, how I want to live a purpose-filled life. And with that, I mean, I'm good. Health-wise, I'm good. As we were discussing a little earlier, I'm getting ready to turn 50 years old. I remember when I was a little boy.
I remember when you were a little boy, which is amazing.
Yeah. So health-wise, I'm good. I have some personal goals, physical goals leading up to my birthday, but I'm enjoying the ride, man.
Right.
If you're not doing that, life can be miserable. So I'm enjoying the ride.
Good. And it's interesting that I think not just COVID, but 2020 in particular, all the things that happened in 2020 really helped all of us, or caused all of us to really kind of put things in perspective, just to understand that you got to be able to love on the people that you love and make sure you're enjoying every moment, because things can change so quickly. I think that it's good to hear that. It's good to hear that as a pastor and as a leader, I know that a lot of times folks don't really check in to see how we're doing, because we're so busy, checking. And you're not only are you a pastor, but then you're a husband, you're a dad, you got family responsibilities, you got then you got a career outside of just the church and the community that you serve. You're doing you got music, you got gospel stuff, you got non-gospel stuff, you got everything going on. And so it's a lot to keep in perspective. And so I found myself many times throughout, especially after 2020, just checking in with folks and saying, hey, especially leaders and pastors and friends of mine, I'm like, how are you doing? I mean, how are you really doing? And a lot of times people ask that question, kind of in passing, but to know that you're really um, taken advantage of the things that 2020 really triggered in us, and so it's like, okay, yeah, take time for your mental health, take time to relax, exercise. I see you out on the golf course. I don't know how to golf, so I've never been able to join you, but that's one of my life goals. I know, so we're working on
Listen, it's not too late.
Uh,
It's not too late to do it. That's one thing. If our friend Bishop Richard Young down in Dallas at 80 can do it.
Oh wow!
And at the country club where my nephew is a member of, there's a gentleman that's I think 95.
Wow!
And he goes up there and he plays 8 holes. I mean, it's but to your point, I was going to say this. You said when you asked how are you doing, I think when I preached a message the other week, man, and I think that's one of the most, that's the question that probably gets the most lies.
Good point. Very good point.
Because people don't really speak the truth and how they're doing. So the fact that we can check in and then have places where we can be transparent.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times people ask the question but don't really want the answer or can't handle the answer. Because sometimes you ask a pastor how they're doing, and if they start really telling you how we're doing, the folks kind of regret asking the question. But that's a very good point that we do, we're most of the time we're okay. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm everything's wonderful. And it's almost an automatic response when it actually, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be able to say, you know what, I need to have a conversation. I need to be able to talk to somebody and be able to kind of just be myself without being judged, and those spaces are important to have. So I'm glad to hear that you are doing well, and I do know that you'd be honest with me. You tell the truth, and you wouldn't be holding it back. But it's exciting, and I thank God for this. And I guess kind of leads me to my next thought: is how have you evolved? Do you think since 2020? How have you evolved, or you had said something about how it helped you mature, but how have you evolved in recent years as a pastor and leader? How do you see some things that are you doing things differently now than you used to, do you think?
Well, I think one of the ways I was able to mature in how I deal with people relationally, the ability to be transparent, the ability to allow individuals to speak their, the reality of their life in here. So I think it caused me to be a little more sensitive. Not that I wasn't sensitive before, but let's let my wife or somebody tell it, I'm too hard, but I wanted to be more sensitive. After I experienced all of the losses that we dealt with. I had a huge loss. My head deacon, as you know, he passed in 2020, who was my best friend, who we went to elementary school with. And so that changed a lot for me. So there's kind of like a hole that's missing.
I got it.
In terms of my personal communication. And so it allowed me to, number one, be truthful, allowed me to be honest, allowed me to be sensitive to individuals. And as a leader, being able to sit and talk with people and really speak after they speak their truths, I even took the honesty to another level, because sometimes we kind of buffer how we deliver things to individuals. But, I like to get to the bottom line. What do you really want for your life?
Right.
Speak directly to that, and let's be honest. If you can handle it, let's be honest about how we need to grow, and let's do it together.
Right. I'm in there with you. Yeah.
So a lot of collaboration.
Right.
I was one that I think my music career prior to me being a pastor has helped my pastoring tremendously in terms of dealing with people. And so, I never had an issue with collaborating to individuals from the time when I first became pastor. I mean, I remember a brief time in the conversation with you giving me some nuggets to help me go.
Mhm.
Me taking a drive to Vegas to sit with Bishop,
Right.
and my Bishop Jones helping me. So, being able to collaborate even more, because that's what's necessary
Yeah.
for leadership in this next wave, because none of us have it all. And what I don't have, I need to be honest about what I don't have, and tap into my strengths. And
that's good.
So that's helped me. So it gives me another goal to get better.
Mhm. Yeah.
And trying to get better in terms of the information, how to disperse the information, how to act with other co-laborers, and then even in that causes us to we make changes. We have to
Right. You see something. I was at the my wife and I were at the Hollywood Bowl with for Herbie Hancock honoring Wayne Shorter, and I even remarked to the congregation about how I was watching, when you're watching great musicians, Kamasi Washington was up there, and Marcus Miller, and Ron Carter. I mean, all these legends, and there was a point where near the end of it where Ron Carter was doing Ron Carter like things, on the bass, and they had a shot where you could see Kamasi in the background just smiling. I mean, this huge smile, because he's enjoying what he's hearing and receiving from Ron Carter and Herbie and these guys, and he's not just, okay, I'm up here doing my thing. And when you brought up the point about collaborating, you brought up the point about being co-laborers, it's critical for leaders to know how to work with other leaders and not be envious and not be competing with them, but to be say, what, I'm enjoying what you do. I of course I'm watching everything, and and so I watch what you do and how you and some of the younger Titans coming along, you, Chris Foster guys, and you guys do it in a different way than we did it, like your dad had such a great impact on my life. I mean, he's like one of my key mentors in terms of just leadership, in terms of how you approach things. And it's always interesting that one generation has this, impact on the next one. But I watch how you guys collaborate, how you guys work together, how you guys, but it's important for us to be able to say, what, how are you doing? How are you dealing with this particular issue in ministry? How are you approaching your live situation? How are you approaching your giving? All those things are, and we're learning. What was funny about 2020 was everybody was, there were so many people that were before the shutdown. We're like, I don't want to do no streaming. We ain't doing no streaming. I want everybody in church. And then when none of us could come to church,
had no choice.
Then they were scrambling. I had friends calling me, colleagues of ours, like, hey, Hamilton, you've been streaming for a while. How do you do this? And so, but I love what the respect that your generation has for those that are that are ahead of you, but also how you respect those that are coming behind you, because you got little brothers, you got little sisters that are in ministry, that are trying to do it and trying to make it happen. So it's important for us to be able to have those spaces where we can collaborate without competing, and be able to learn from one another and say, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way, and as a musician, I know you, and of course your brother, Rapture, y'all done, major things, and you collaborate. And another way I just thought about it, that you collaborate in the Soul Seekers. I mean, you working with these, all of you guys are such gifted artists in your own right, but you all coming together is always interesting. I don't know if there's another project. What are we doing here? Anyway, but we'll talk about that. I know that I know that fans are gonna want to know what's happening when y'all come in with that. But how are you? What have been some of the challenges you faced in terms of just, or what have been maybe your bigger challenges that you faced in terms of ministry or in terms of leadership? And then what are some of your biggest triumphs? One of the things you're like, wow, I'm really proud of how we came through that. You touched on your head deacon. And I'll let you answer, but how we deal with loss and how we deal with losses of key people is something that leaders never really talk about or get a chance to express. But that was something that kind of resonated with me.
Yeah, I think that's a good point and a good question. Dealing with grief, I think that when it hits for me, things happen so fast. And, as a pastor, as a leader, you don't get the space to grieve like everybody else.
No, absolutely.
So I could think about it, I could take it back to 2012, February 19th, I'm installed as pastor. March 30, 40 days later, my dad passes.
Yeah.
He passes on a Friday. I got to go to church Sunday and preach to the people, heartbroken. Same thing with, I can, similar to when Deacon Redrick Williams passed. He passes on a Saturday morning. Sunday, I have to preach online.
Right.
While I'm sitting with COVID.
Yeah. Wow.
The lesson. So, at some point, I believe that all preachers, all leaders are going to be challenged in what we believe about what we give the people.
Come on. That's
right? And so for me, all the songs we sing, we sing songs about heaven, we talk about eternity, we talk about all these things. You'll really be challenged on what you believe. The great thing is, I can speak for myself. I believe the word 1,000%.
Right.
As it pertains to life here on earth and eternity. And so we do know that on this side, we deal with the grief. And now we have to manage it. We have to manage it well. I have moments. I was telling some friends yesterday, I was at lunch and I was telling them how the other week I had a moment where I just wanted to have where I just wanted to have one of those explosive cries.
Right.
And, I've just felt it.
Yeah.
And, so I manage it. I manage it with good people. And then I manage it with the level of thanksgiving and appreciation. I'm thankful to God for what I had. I can't change what has happened. And I learned to live in a state of gratefulness relationally with people, whether it's you, whether it's people we like, even if it's people that we don't like.
Right. Because they teach us something. They teach that, they make you have to learn to love some folk. You have to learn how to deal with.
So those things are great. And so when I look back to the other part of the question about the triumphs, and what I've done in ministry, one of the things I did, it's when you assume the pastorate or take over from another leader, and you have to, that transition piece is a hard piece, and I know you know that. It's such a hard piece. I do not do it like my father did. One thing, I'm nowhere. My father was a guy that they used to call him to raise offerings. I am not. Don't call me.
See, we're brothers from another mother for real. Yeah,
exactly. Oh yeah. I hate that. I put it out there, but the Lord, He has helped me with that. But overall, over the past 10 years, I was able to at our facility. When I look at the new members that have come in, the new members are pretty much surpassing the older members in terms of the number of people.
Yeah.
So, individuals have been coming, and there's been something there that is uniquely for them. I'm grateful about that. I'm grateful for the fact of how we've undergone, and we're almost to the final. We're in the final phase of it. But remodeling that whole property, and everything, every square inch of that is on the inside has been remodeled. You got to fix the inside first, and then go down.
Yeah.
So we're finished getting the outside. Hopefully, we'll be done next year with that. So that's big. And then I was able to pay off the church quietly.
Wow! Right. No fanfare, but just doing it.
And so those things are great, but ultimately the greatest thing is the fact that, you know, we're still doing ministry and to still love doing it. Yeah, you hate some of the challenges, but to love God's people enough to
Yeah.
calling. I'm glad I'm still here. We know many people that have quit, have given
Hey,
up, and so it's a testimony and still be here.
Well, that was, as you were talking, I thought about the fact that still being there is to be celebrated, to be able to come through. And every now and then you got to be able to look back and say, look where the Lord has brought us from. Look how the Lord has helped us come through that challenge. Going back to a point you made, the transition. I remember, you and I, like I said, your dad was telling me, okay, I want you to talk, your dad in his way, his old I want you to talk to my son and talk to him, and then of course I would bump into you at Laker games, and I'm like, hey man, we got to get together, we got to talk, because I understood what was coming, because your dad was there for me during my transition, and I wasn't taking over nearly the church with the magnitude that you did, but at the same time, it's difficult, and you're at a point now where you have. I was rejoicing to hear you say that the ones that have come in under you are surpassing the numbers that were under your dad. Not that you want to lose anybody, but what happens is there are people that are coming to ministry now, especially this generation. These, I was talking to my son and daughter the other day about what the different generations are named, and because I'm a baby boomer, you're Gen X, I guess. Are you? And I don't know. There's millennials, and then they got the alphas. You got all kind of stuff, but the ones that are coming in now a lot of them are unchurched, so they're only knowing you as the pastor, and that's an interesting transition. And then what the problem with that is, you still have some that knew your dad, and they're like, he's different. He ain't doing it, and so it's always that. And then I'm gonna ask you about this piece. When did the confidence kick in to do it your way and not worry about the past?
That's very good, man. My dad. So if I could back up a little bit, I knew there was a calling on my life to work and help in ministry. I did not believe it was going to be to lead. And I remember when I first started, my dad giving me preaching opportunities. And I used to leave so defeated. I'm like, man, nobody ran, nobody jumped.
Yeah.
I was conditioned to think that's what had to happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And my dad gave me the best advice ever. I said one day, man, but I don't do it like you. I don't know. He said, well, God didn't call you to sound like, he didn't call you to do it like me or anybody else. He called you to do it like you're going to do it.
Yep.
And that's one seed. My father, that transition, I'm so grateful for it, even all the way up to his passing. I don't know of another situation where it was ordained beautifully like that.
Right.
My dad was able to, from the last time I saw him was after Wednesday night Bible study, in which I did a vision casting for the church. I asked Bishop, you got anything you want to say? He was like, everything sounds great. Go with your pastor. Let's follow the pastor. And then the last time I see him was on the parking lot leaving. He said, all right, good job, son. I'll see you later. So the last time I talked to him.
Wow.
Right? And so when I do it, I had to get over the first piece of it. Sometimes even preachers, we have to, when we get an assignment, we have to get over our feelings. Just like if we're watching sports. Right now, I'm in the Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is my show. When it's time, when you get on the field, you got to put your feelings in that. You got to set them down for a moment to do the job.
All your emotions, all that job, all the stuff.
Yep. So when we go to the place where we're going to present the gospel, that place on the stage, pulpit, I got to a place where I done studied, I done read, I done prepared, I done got nervous. At that point, when I'm getting on the elevator to go downstairs to go in the church, I did my study, and now you take over.
Please.
And get the confidence. And so God gives it to me, and I
Yeah.
have to get over people. I had some people say some of the roughest things to me. I had somebody tell me one time, a member that had been a member from our church for a long time. She came and told me she's a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
Came and told me, I just didn't get nothing out of what you said.
Oh my
She
goodness.
told me that after
Wow.
it wasn't even like 15 minutes. I just didn't get nothing, She came to me to tell me that.
Wow.
And then I was kind of like broken, man. I'm trying to express it, but I knew that in error on their part, they wanted it a certain way.
Right.
Only wanted to receive it. If I was the hoop and I sing quartet music. I could hoop if I wanted to.
I know you could.
That's not my thing. And not that I don't ever get excited and, do a little bit, but at that time early in my career, I wasn't trying to, it wasn't natural. So I'm not going that's natural. And so I had to learn to get over people. And the Lord, but there was a part when I was feeling lower and I'm inadequate, I'm not valued. But one time I'll tell you this. I went and preached for Bishop Donnie McGriff for an anniversary. And one of the ministers on the stage said, "That was a nice speech." And I was like, I was driving home, man. I was like, man, I ain't never preaching at no PAW, nothing, whatever.
Right,
I get a call from a young man who got my number and was crying on the other line.
Wow.
Said, "You do not know how you blessed me and changed the way I'm going to think from this time forward." So I'm in that middle pocket of old school, new school. It's like we're on the ship. I liken it to being on the ship. We're going in a new direction. There'll be some that are going to be on there complaining and they're going to still be eating. If you're on a cruise ship, they'll still be eating at the buffets and everything. And they'll be enjoying all the fruits. What's happening, but I'm after the next generation. My kids, I want them to love church. They may not do it like my son comes to church. My dad would not let me dress like it. He's a basketball player. All he has mostly is basketball clothes. They like church. Now, I can imagine if somebody was doing to my kids what people were doing to me, they would be like, "Oh, when I'm 18, I'm out of here."
Oh, yeah. But there were so many generations lost that way, you know?
Yeah. So I think the best thing for me, the confidence is in the fact that there are young people that come to me and they tell me they feel comfortable talking. Yeah. I mean, when things are going, we used to be scared to talk to my father. but the funny part about that was after we got in that office, you always thought the office was the bad place to go.
Oh no.
But one time me and Redrick, our deacon, sitting with him, and we found out actually he's kind of cooler than we thought. He was hard. He was a big man, but when he sat down, he dealt with life in a certain way. And so, I'm grateful to be doing. That's why I enjoy it, because I know what we have is the antidote. What we've been given is the antidote to what this world needs, and we're gonna keep giving it. Those that want it. Those that will not get it, they'll have to deal with God later.
and because the thing is this, that it's a place where all of us had to get to. Because you had to find your style, find your voice, and be comfortable with how you present it, and realize it ain't for everybody. I realized a long time ago, preachers used to come out and try to just, okay, I'm gonna see what Hamilton's doing out here, blah, blah, blah. Your dad was one. I was thinking today about your dad had me preach, run a revival there in Linwood. I mean, I preached all week. I mean, literally all week long. You're like, okay, you start on Sunday afternoon after I'd done 2 services already, and I'm going and we going all week. And I'll never forget, we got to Friday night, and we were over in the
Chapel Park next door,
right? Yeah. And it was packed. I mean, everybody's in there, and the mics went out. And I'm like, now this is at the end of the week, so you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
And Dad, your dad got it. Well, I'm thinking, okay, I know Bishop Stewart got some more mics in here somewhere. I know we gonna just, he didn't bring no more mic. Said, all right, Hamilton, we gonna go in that church anyhow. And I preached with no mic after I've been preaching all week.
Oh,
But it was those old school. So yeah, I was done. But the old school lessons taught me, but it taught me to adjust. I said, okay, you ain't gonna be able to just rear back and just go. You gonna have to talk to these people.
Yeah.
And the ability to be able to say, okay, I'm doing it. Just like with 2020, people they had a hard time sitting down and just having a conversation or teaching something or sharing something with the people. But folks that you're ministering to, the folks that you reach, that's what they're listening for. They're listening for just, hey, I need somebody to talk to me clearly.
Yes.
And it's wonderful to be able to be comfortable enough in your own skin to be able to say, all right, this is what I do. And it's not for everybody, but I know it's for somebody. And I'm glad the Lord allowed the young man to call you and reach you, because people don't understand how their words and their reactions can really do some major damage to our psyche. Like, man, I don't know if this is what, but you understand, and that's the growth. That's why I was excited to hear about that. And that's why the Lord let me even ask. It's like, okay, but where did you get to that? And because all of us have to get there.
Yes.
All have to get to that point where this is how I do it. And I'm glad. And I know, like I said, your dad was one of those people that he was just, he had the way he led was so critical. And I think it's important because I realize it's missing a lot nowadays. That the ability to be a gentle giant. And as I think back for so many key moments in my life, even me being ordained when I got ordained in 1990, your dad was the one that I watched this group of people that I walked up to at the council. I come in there in Stockton, and I walked into the hotel lobby area, and there's the late Bishop Charles Taylor,
legend,
the late Bishop Howard Swansea,
legend,
and the late Bishop Carl W. Stewart. And so they were talking about something about Enon and we had taken his class, or they was basically getting more money. But they was taking his class with us to be supposed to be ordained. I had taken the class, completed the class, but they still weren't gonna let me get ordained. And your father looks at me, he said, wait a minute now, you helping your pastor, ain't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, come on. He walks me down to the room. This man's got to be ordained this council. And so I need you to give him the test. He's got to be ordained. Time for me to be installed as pastor. Or a year later, he was the one that did the installation.
Wow.
He comes up. Then when my pastor, a couple of months afterwards, watch this will bring us full circle. He said, my pastor, we were at your church, and they were both in the restroom at the same time. And so your dad said, how's that young man doing out there now? In his own way. And my pastor's like, well, everything's going because the church was growing, folks was coming back, all this stuff. He said, yeah, he's growing. He said, well, he said, the only thing is that a lot of them are around there wearing pants. Women are wearing pants. Your father said, ain't nothing you can do about it now. He's the pastor, and walked out.
That's right.
Too late now, Doc. But I understand the transition. I understand the challenges, and for him to be able to tell you, be you, do what you do, because he, in a way, he knew you weren't talking to his generation,
right?
You weren't even talking necessarily to your generation at that time. You're talking to the next generation,
correct?
And I think it's important for us to, again, come back to that collaboration piece. For those of us that are, I was thinking about going back to the concert. I was thinking about, you got Ron Carter with his acoustic bass. I mean, played with Miles Davis and everybody and their mama on everything.
Yep.
Then you got Marcus Miller on his bass, played with everybody and everything, and they're both working together to create something. Absolutely, they're not opposing each other. They are complementing each other. Yeah. And so that collaboration piece is really important. I think that, and I'm grateful to hear that. I don't want to hold you all day long, but I'm doing the conversation. Yeah. I got this question for you. What do you think young pastors need now? And what do they need in particular from my generation? You know?
So it's interesting that you asked that. I've been seeing all of the commentary going on around right now from, certain platforms about whether individuals need covering.
Oh man,
that whole thing, right?
Right.
Accountability. Number one, we need for our seniors that are, older than us to care.
Mm.
We need them to care more, like, in terms of not really control, but care. Because many want to control and not care. And then we have to be, they need to, I wish that we could open their eyes a little bit broader, move the barriers so that they can just see this world that we're trying to witness to and share the gospel.
Yeah.
I was able to just the day before yesterday, me and Jason Spencer was able to go to get Bishop Morris Delaney and take him to lunch.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Delaney lives by me.
Yeah.
And I always told him, I wanted to, I'm going to come get him and take him to eat,
Mm-hmm.
And he was just saying that he couldn't do it today.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. In the former years because of the challenge. So I think we need from the seniors, we need a level of care,
as
well as respect, because some try to treat us like little. I mean, I'm 50 years old. 50 years old next year. I'm not no little boy.
Right.
I got properties. I got
right. You're doing some things.
Yeah. So, the respect as men, we're not the little kids anymore. At the same time, the younger ones, like people my age, we have to have enough respect for the seniors, whether we agree with them or not.
Right.
To be able to sit with them, honor them, and still glean from them. One of the things I did, certain individuals, I'll say, hey, I'm going to come get you and go to eat. And I was able to do that with Bishop Swansea months before the pandemic. To sit with him. I went and picked him up from his house. Went to eat. We went to Tender Greens over in the Marina Del Rey, and we sat and we talked. I think our generation has to do that more so that we can get understanding. Like, I always wanted to know the why. I was able to sit with my dad and ask, tell me the why you started this.
Yeah.
What was it? What kept you going when it was tough? When the church went through financial struggle, and tell me what we need to be able to do those things and talk to each other. In addition, I think that our young generation needs to just be careful about the desire for the fame of it, because with social media makes everybody popular.
And everybody's a star.
And so for me, again, spending decades in the entertainment business, like I went to see Beyonce last week in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And I went to see her. I go see her because, for those who don't know, I wrote a song and produced a song on her first record, and I played the drums for her on her very first tour. I did a part of the leg of the tour, right? So we spent time, worked in the studio. So I go to see the production. I want to make sure I'm aware of what's happening in the entertainment production. of that sound and all of that. And so I think is one of the things about the entertainment business for me is the desire that many artists have to just be, I got to be at the top. I want to be number one. I want to be number one. And that thing has crept over into the church and leadership, and we create these things, and it's so dangerous to me because if you don't get that, you're upset, you're mad at everybody else. You think, why is God doing it? God he didn't call us to fame. He didn't call us to those things. So I think having a humility group where you can be with others and be humble. I'll say this, myself, Aaron Lindsay, Warren Campbell, Wayne Chaney, and Albert Tate get together a couple times a year, and we just vent. We just we make sure we hold each other accountable to the space of humility, and I think that's what we need. And those guys, but like Albert Tate is one of the largest speakers of multi-ethnic pastors. We get with each other when we're able to just talk and, checks and balances, just remain humble. I think that's what we need, along with the ability to be able to grow. Nobody knows it all, and we're trying to repeat. Some of us are just imitators of our forefathers.
Right.
We want to dress like them. We want to talk like them and all that. So we're inauthentic.
Right.
And so if we can have these conversations with people like yourself, like this is how we lead. We learn. We're able to watch. I'm able to turn you on Facebook and watch you do your thing and glean and learn from every, and absorb. If we can get to that, I know that's a whole bunch to that answer, but
no, you're right on point, and you're touching on so many things that are, which is why why I wanted to have you on, because I knew you were going to have your finger on the pulse of so many things that are happening, and to be able to say it in a way that's going to be helpful. There's so many people that are going to listen to this podcast, watch this podcast, and be able to say, you know what, that's exactly where I am, or that's exactly where we are. And those spaces, those spaces of being able to be yourself. And each generation had it in a way, in their own way. Your father had friends that he, would connect with, and of course I've had friends, me and House and Jones, and we to be able to just be around one another and not want anything. Pastors understand this, that most of the time with leaders and pastors, folks are always wanting something from you.
Yes.
They're always, can you give me this? Can you do this for me? Can you, and to be around some folks with no egos involved. You ain't got to give me no title. You ain't got to give me no, we're just here talking. And those type of spaces are so critical for us to be able to be healthy, to be able to lead, and you walk away from there feeling like, okay, I think I can make it. Okay, I learned this. I was able to laugh. I was able to, express myself without judgment. That's important, and I think that. But as you said, the to be able to have to care, that care without control is going to be something that sticks with me. I'm gonna mess with that, Doc. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yes,
but it's important. How do you care about people? And I think that's the answer that you gave is so expansive. Now the question was a two-part question anyway, so you hit both points though, and did it in a great way. But I think that's and we need that from you guys too. We need to be able to. One thing about getting older, and I hit 60, so as you're getting older. But one thing that's funny is they're gonna always still call you a young man. I just want you to get ready for that. Yeah, you're gonna be 50 something, and now this young man, I'm like, dude, all right.
Right.
but the fact is that we need those spaces, and what I think I want you to understand, I want your generation and those even behind you to understand, we need to be able to express those things to you. We need to be able to pass stuff down. We need to be able to show you how we did it. But then again, you're going to do it differently. Your approach is going to be different, but at least to give you the idea of what we were thinking. You know, I got an interesting question for you. My 5 questions that are going to be coming up, and that'll you know, kind of lead into that. But I'm going to mess with that. Let me ask this. My last little thought I want to ask: what are you excited about now? What are you most excited about?
I'm excited about the opportunity. Okay, so let me talk. I'll talk personally, and I'll talk. You know, when it comes to me, personally, I'm excited because there's some uncharted territories that I'm getting ready to go down.
Awesome.
Yes, you know, I'm working on a book. I've been working on a book. I'm working on a book. The first one is called "Find Your Way." It's a self-help directional book, and I'll kind of tap into my journey into music. From music into ministry. And so I want to help individuals because a lot of people are lost. They're trying to figure out life in this economy and this state of the world. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a project that we're doing on our church. I was able to drop 2 singles and to talk different styles of what we're doing. I dropped a single last year called "Let Your Kingdom Come," in which I'm singing the hook is a little different. And then another song that we dropped called "When You Need Him Most," featuring Cortez. So I'm trying to still do those things. I'm excited about that in the book. And just I'm excited about life, like our kids, watching our kids. You know, my daughter is going to be 16 in a few months.
Wow, really?
I mean, you know, they're honor roll students. My baby girl is 10. They're watching them excites me. Everything. So we enjoy watching them just grow and develop into beautiful people. As far as ministry, I'm excited because, again, we have the antidote. I really believe we have the antidote for the world. And so the opportunity to present and be able to share, I'm always like, Lord, give me an opportunity to somebody, whether it's in the church, outside of the church. I want to be used to share. Now, first of all, if we talk about leadership, ain't no need to lead anybody if you don't like people. You gotta like people, right? And I love people. I love people. So the fact of even where our church and the young people, I'm excited about. And the last thing I'll say is I'm excited about building the next leaders.
Yes, that is.
That's key. If we're not, and some older don't really get that. And I don't know if it's a thing that just happens when you get older, you just start feeling inadequate, and because somebody else is doing what you used to do. I'm preparing my mind now. I want to enjoy watching somebody else take the mantle, not only in this ministry, but developing ministers is a thing that I'm getting ready to be on at our church, the ministers in training and, you know, leaders in training for the future. In the church, outside of the church, I'm excited about those opportunities because we get to witness the greatness. Sometimes, and you know, you've probably poured into so many people, and sometimes you may have done it indirect, wasn't even thinking about what you were doing, and later you see the fruit of it. You like, wow. They come back and they share with you. That's
they say, "Oh, I got this from you," or "I learned that."
Yeah, I'm like, that's a high. I'm like, man, I'm excited about that. I was able to. I'll say this: when Home Assembly, one of our great churches, had an anniversary dinner, we saw each other out the other week. And Bishop House was there. What's funny is in my phone, because I take notes every day. It comes to me.
Right.
I mark it. I remember it. I like to log things. And I went back to 2012, and I don't know why I put Clinton House's name in there, and I found the original note from when me and my deacon Reggie drove to Vegas for him to give me notes on how
Mhm.
to hit. And I was able to tell him at that dinner. I said, "Man, I found the notes from our meeting," and he asked me to send them to him. And I
Mhm.
think it was a joy that he had from
Yes.
receiving that from me. And so
Mhm.
I want to do the same thing. I pour in the guys. I give young drummers as a drummer. I work with
Mhm.
Drum Workshop, the #1 drum company in the world. I've
Mhm.
given away probably like 15 drum sets to young guys.
Wow. Wow.
Just and just because it hit me when it's he gives seed to the sower, so he gives he gives
Yeah.
drums because he knows I give them away. And our
And
young
you
guys,
never know where that's going to take them and how. And see, that's what legacy is.
yes, yes,
Our hearts are broken, of course, and still broken over Kobe, you know,
yes,
and
absolutely.
Gigi and that whole thing.
Yeah,
But what I'm enjoying now is hearing players talk about, oh yeah, I had a moment with Kobe where he shared this with me, or he was telling me with this, and he's giving me, he had written out notes, he sent them to me, the phone conversations.
yeah,
This is what, and see, we don't understand as leaders how important that is, not
yeah,
only to receive it, but to give it. And
yes,
like you said, the soul, and to be able to say, pour into somebody and say, you know what, I take that with you, young man. Your dad did the same thing for me.
yeah,
Jones does it. House has done it. Everybody's made their pilgrimage to Vegas
yes, yes,
at
yes,
some
yes.
point. But and I've had people come out here, young people come out. I'm just wanting to hang out with you. I want to pick your brain. I want to talk to you. Those are the things that help. It's rewarding because, and then too, it challenges us
It does.
because it makes us think. It makes us okay. That's something to share. That's something to pass on.
Mhm.
I'm really excited to hear that, and I've got to go back to something that you said that earlier, um, in relation to grieving and all that. Um, Either we believe it or we don't. If
Yeah,
we really believe this, and I always tell people that, and that's why my folks will tell you I do funerals different. I just can't. I'm not. Look, if we've been singing about this, preaching about it, talking about it for
yes,
decades, and then now all of a sudden we're gonna get here and act like we don't have no hope. No,
yes,
we believe it or we don't.
that's right.
And you really believe, and what I'm excited about for you is you have the passion for this. You love people,
Yeah,
uh, and I think that it's important for leaders and pastors, especially, to really love people and be passionate about what you're doing.
yes,
Because if you don't have passion, man, it ain't gonna last. And
sir.
so I'm excited. I'm glad to hear you writing the book because I've been through that, and I know that whole thing, and so now now you stirred me up because I got the next one in my head, and I'm like, okay, I got to get maybe talk about it. And now you just said, I'm like, all right, Nisan's got one coming out. I'm gonna have to drop one too. So
Yes, sir.
but anyway, I've oh man, this has been great. This has been really great. All right, now what I'm going to be starting with the leaders lounge and the conversations, especially, I got 5 questions,
Mhm.
and these are just random questions. All right, and my first question is this: if you could go back in time to any moment or event, what would it be?
That's a good one, Bishop. That is a good. If I could go back in time to witness a moment, I love transitional moments. This may
Mm-hmm.
sound funny. If I could go back in time and be at a specific place, I would really love to go back and be at Motown 25
No, okay, Motel 25. Yeah,
because to watch
yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning of the transition from Michael Jackson
yeah.
again, the world in terms of music was getting ready to change, and that was the beginning of
That
it.
was it.
That
Yeah.
was it. So I would love to be there to
Uh-huh.
witness that and to witness just the
The
the,
reaction.
the room and how it but that would be it.
Okay. All right. All right. That's a great answer. Okay. All right. Now, if you are on a desert island, what 3 albums would you have to have with you to help you survive?
Okay. Number one is going to be Commission's second album.
Mm-hmm.
Commission's second album, which is the one with "Running Back to You" on it.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay.
album. I
Okay.
forget the title of the album. I don't know if it was self-titled, but it's going to be that album.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be Frank Sinatra live at the Sands.
Oh man, that is classic. I love that album. I love
Sinatra live at the Sands with Duke Ellington and
Count Basie and Quincy Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That album. And then I'm going to have the Soul Seekers' first album.
I love it.
The Soul Seekers' first album with the Ghost Street. I'm gonna get Commission. I'm gonna get that. But then I'm gonna throw a bonus album. The bonus album would be Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. That would be my bonus album.
Off the Wall. All right. I love it. Now I will, I did albums with you because you're a music man. Now, if you want to say movies, if you had 3 movies, you can throw 3 movies in there if you wanted to.
My 3 movies. Number 1 is going to be Gladiator.
Oh man, you my brother for real.
Gladiator is going to be, because that's my favorite movie of all time. Between that, it's going to be that. There's going to be, I'm gonna go with Bad Boys 2.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with The Godfather.
The Godfather. All right. Excellent. All right. I love it. What person, living or dead, would you love to spend a day with, hang out with?
The person, living or dead, that I would love to spend the day with. I would love to spend the day with Barack Obama. The reason for him to be the first African American president in such a racially divided country, and to do it with the level of tact and class, that takes a certain
that's the sort of level of leadership and mindset.
So I would love to sit with him, to kind of glean from him. There's a book I read. I'll throw this up. There's a book called "Can't Hurt Me" by David Goggins. I don't know if you. He was a triathlete. He was one of the first Black Navy SEALs or something.
Oh wow!
And he talks about the mind and he did. So it's a great book to read. But I would imagine that Barack Obama had to have that "Can't Hurt Me" mindset to everything that was happening, from Donald Trump spewing venom this and that. So it would be Barack Obama.
All right, great answer. Well, I guess that kind of leads to this next question. Who inspires you?
Man, I'm inspired by if I'm going to use a public figure, I would ultimately say Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes.
Wow.
It would be because, again, he's another one. When I was in that early searching moment for, just trying to build myself in terms of resources in ministry, he single-handedly, indirectly, I went to the first couple conferences of the Gideon Conference, and pastors 40 and under.
Right.
He single-handedly spoke to me like I didn't know no preachers. I mean, I'm big in the world, and knew a lot of people in that world, but in those preaching circles, I wasn't. Nobody. I went and sat in the back, and he single-handedly. I was able to pay off our church because of the information.
Wow.
The spirit that he poured into me. So he inspires me. From his books and the teachings and just everything. Persevere. But I'm really, to be honest, I'm inspired by my friends.
Yeah.
I got friends that inspire me.
That's great. That's good to have. Yeah.
Warren Campbell, Albert Tate, my brother Rapture, and then my older brother Carl.
Yeah.
Who Buster, he's inspired me. He had whatever physical challenge he had in life, it didn't stop him from going at going.
So
I'm
always so glad to see him, because he just, he inspired a lot of us, and just his perseverance.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm at I would suggest that everybody gets around the people or creates a circle of inspiration.
I love it. A circle of inspiration.
Yes.
Excellent. And finally,
Mm-hmm.
what's your favorite food or dish?
Oh man, that's tough. You see, this stomach, I try almost everything, man.
One thing that somebody say, "Oh, I'm gonna make something for you," or I'm a
steak guy.
Mm-hmm.
I am a steak guy.
All right, I got you.
Steak guy all the way. I love steakhouses. I love to try good steak.
Yeah, because we're still
way overdue. I owe you. I don't even want to pull out the I owe you card and see how much. But this season it's going to happen, because we can go to Mastros before we go to one of these Laker games.
Let's make that happen, man.
Across the street, be easy.
We're going to make that happen for sure.
Sir.
I love it. Man, Nisan, Pastor Nisan Stewart, it has been an absolute pleasure. And I'm grateful for you being able to just open up and give us everything you gave us in this podcast. It was a blessing. And I'm sure leaders all over the place are going to be inspired. This is legendary. You're the first one. Wow. But we got to have you back, because we still got some more ground to cover. But I really appreciate you. I love you, little brother. Give love to the wife and everybody. And
let me thank you. Let me just take a moment. I want to thank you. I want to take a moment to just thank you. You've been a trailblazer. I love people that move quietly. Make big moves, move quietly. And I mean this I'm not saying this because we're on here, but I've watched you in ministry, and you know this, as many of my friends are members of your church, even entertainers, and they speak so highly of you. And that's what I want to do. When you can get them to come to church and love hearing the word, that's what I'm talking about. So I salute you and the moves that you make and all that you're doing, because you're an inspiration to me as well, man. I mean,
that's you, man. I appreciate you, little brother. I really do. Much love to you. Continued blessings, continued success. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You are really knocking it out of the park. I'm so glad to have had you in the Leaders Lounge. This was fun. This was great. So God bless you, and we will talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.
Thanks for listening to the Leaders Lounge live and unmuted with Steve Hamilton. If you found this episode to be helpful or have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget your copy of the book for mature audiences only, with the self-assessment guide, Manifesting God's Divine Will for Your Life. It's available now at stevehamiltonministries.com. Until next time.